1. Euan McGregor's lightsaber sound effects. During filming, Euan McGregor couldn't resist making his own lightsaber sounds during fight scenes. The vroom and whoosh noises were so loud that the sound team had to remove them in post-production. McGregor admitted he'd been a Star Wars fan since childhood, so holding a lightsaber felt too real to stay silent. His playful habit became a running joke on set, with other actors joining in during rehearsals. Even though the final cut features professional sound effects, knowing that McGregor was swinging and humming makes those action scenes even more fun to watch. Many behind-the-scenes clips still capture his boyish enthusiasm, proving that even Jedi Knights sometimes can't resist their inner fan. 2. Yoda was fully CGI for the first time. In Attack of the Clones, Yoda appeared entirely in CGI for the first time in a Star Wars film. In The Phantom Menace, Yoda was still a puppet in most scenes, but George Lucas wanted more fluid motion for lightsaber duels. The CGI model allowed Yoda to perform flips, spins, and fast-paced moves impossible with puppetry. It was a technological leap that amazed fans in 2002. Many were stunned to see the wise old Jedi suddenly so agile in his battle with Count Dooku. The change was risky, but it paid off, proving that digital effects could bring even long-standing characters to life in new and thrilling ways. 3. The Chamino rainstorm was entirely artificial. The constant rainfall on Chamino wasn't real weather. It was created with a combination of water sprinklers and digital enhancement. Actors performed under massive rain rigs that soaked them during every take. The intense downpour created unique challenges for costumes, props, and electronics, requiring multiple backups of everything. Visual effects teams later added digital enhancements to make the storm more dramatic. The setting's gloomy, watery atmosphere became one of the film's most visually distinct features, perfectly matching Chamino's mysterious cloning operations. Shooting in such wet conditions tested the cast's patience, but the end result was an unforgettable cinematic world that still stands out in the Star Wars universe. 4. Christopher Lee's lightsaber scenes used a stunt double. At 79 years old during filming, Christopher Lee performed some of Count Dooku's close-up shots, but relied on stunt double Kyle Rowling for most lightsaber duels. The production team digitally replaced Rowling's head with Lee's in post-production to make the action seamless. Lee, a skilled swordsman in his youth, still managed to bring elegance to the role without doing the high-intensity flips or spins. His deep voice and commanding presence made Dooku one of Star Wars' most memorable villains. Even knowing much of the fighting was done by a double, fans praised how authentic and intense the lightsaber battles felt on screen, especially Dooku's dramatic showdown with Yoda. 5. Hayden Christensen wore heavier Jedi robes for a reason. Anakin Skywalker's costume was designed to subtly foreshadow his transformation into Darth Vader. Costume designer Tricia Bigger gave Hayden Christensen heavier, darker robes compared to Obi-Wan's lighter colors. The fabric's weight made Hayden Christensen's movements slightly slower and more deliberate, mimicking the way Darth Vader moves in the original trilogy. This visual storytelling detail went unnoticed by many viewers, but added depth to Anakin's journey towards the dark side. The heavier material also helped with dramatic movement on screen, making his fight scenes appear more intense and powerful. It's one of many subtle touches that Lucasfilm used to connect the prequels with the classic films. 6. The clones were entirely CGI. Every single clone trooper you see in Attack of the Clones is computer-generated. Not one suit of armor was physically worn during production. This decision allowed for perfect uniformity and easy large-scale battle scenes. Actor Teamera Morrisons provided the voice for all the clones, making them sound identical as intended. Using CGI gave the filmmakers complete control over movement, lighting, and scale, which would have been difficult and expensive with practical costumes. Even though the technology has aged since 2002, many fans still admire how ambitious the visual effects were for their time. This fully digital army became one of the film's defining achievements. 7. Samuel L. Jackson chose his own lightsaber color. Samuel L. Jackson, who played Mace Windu, personally requested a purple lightsaber so he could stand out in the massive Jedi battle on Geonosis. George Lucas initially resisted but eventually agreed. The choice wasn't just cosmetic. Jackson liked the idea that purple represented a mix of the blue and red sides of the Force, reflecting Windu's balanced yet powerful nature. The purple blade became one of the most iconic lightsabers in Star Wars history, instantly recognizable to fans. Jackson even kept the prop after filming, proudly displaying it as one of his favorite souvenirs from the set. 8. Natalie Portman's costume changes were constant. Padme Amidala's wardrobe in Attack of the Clones is one of the most elaborate in Star Wars history, with over 40 costume changes throughout the film. Designer Trisha Bigger created gowns, jumpsuits, and travel outfits that reflected both Padme's political role and her evolving relationship with Anakin. Many costumes required hours to assemble and were so delicate that they could only be worn for short periods during shooting. These outfits added visual richness to the film, but also made Natalie Portman's job more challenging. Each change was carefully planned to show subtle shifts in Padme's mood and situation, from regal elegance to action-ready practicality. 9. The Geonosis Arena was mostly digital. The massive Geonosis Arena battle looks like it was filmed on a giant set, but most of it was digital. The actors performed in a small green-screened area with only a few physical props like chains, sand, and small pillars. The rest, including the crowd, structures, and alien creatures, was created with CGI. This allowed George Lucas to choreograph massive battles with hundreds of Jedi and alien warriors without the limitations of a real set. The scene became one of the most ambitious visual effects sequences in the Star Wars prequels, showcasing how far CGI technology had come by the early 2000s. 10. Jarjar's role was greatly reduced. Following fan backlash from The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks' role was cut down significantly in Attack of the Clones. Actor Ahmed Best still voiced the character, but Jar Jar mostly served as a background figure and political pawn in the Senate. In fact, his single most notable act in the film, proposing the vote to give Chancellor Palpatine emergency powers, was a subtle but critical moment in the rise of the Empire. This narrative choice was George Lucas's way of acknowledging fan criticism while still using the character to influence the galaxy's fate in a major way.
11. The love scenes were filmed twice. Anakin and Padme's romantic scenes were shot in two different styles, one more formal and restrained, and the other more emotionally expressive. Lucas later blended elements from both takes in the final edit to strike a balance between passion and the old-fashioned romance style he wanted for the prequels. Filming these sequences was challenging due to the awkwardness of delivering intense romantic dialogue in a sci-fi setting. Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman both admitted that the Naboo meadow scenes felt surreal, especially since large parts of the background were just blue screens that would later be replaced with digital scenery. This small but significant change helped tie the prequels and originals together, giving Star Wars continuity a stronger sense of connection. Some fans loved the consistency, while others preferred the original mysterious voice. Either way, Morrison's deep commanding tone became a key part of Fett family lore. 12. Temuera Morrison's voice was later changed in other films. When the original Star Wars trilogy was released on DVD in 2004, Lucasfilm replaced Boba Fett's voice with Temuera Morrison's to match the clone origins established in Attack of the Clones. Morrison, who played Jango Fett, recorded new lines for the updated editions of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. This small but significant change helped tie the prequels and originals together, giving Star Wars continuity a stronger sense of connection. Some fans loved the consistency, while others preferred the original mysterious voice. Either way, Morrison's deep commanding tone became a key part of Fett family lore. 13. Count Dooku was originally called Darth Tyrannis from the start. While fans only learned Dooku's Sith name Darth Tyrannis later in the film, the cast and crew knew it from day one of filming. Christopher Lee embraced the dual identity, bringing subtle hints of his darker side even in early scenes. The marketing kept his Sith name a secret before release, adding mystery to his character. This reveal during the Chamino storyline added an extra layer of intrigue, as audiences realized the bounty hunter Jango Fett had been hired by the very Sith Lord they'd just met. It was a clever narrative twist that tied the movie's political and action plots together. 14. The Tuscan Raider scene was darker than expected. Anakin's massacre of the Tuscan Raiders was one of the film's most shocking moments. The original script contained even more violent details, but Lucas toned it down to keep the PG rating. Hayden Christensen prepared for the scene by studying moments from classic westerns where characters lose control. The quick, intense editing combined with John Williams' chilling score made the moment unforgettable. This scene was a turning point for Anakin, showing his first major step toward the dark side, a change that frightened even Padme and foreshadowed his eventual transformation into Darth Vader. 15. The Droid Factory sequence was added late. The action-packed Droid Factory scene on Geonosis wasn't in the original script. It was added late in production to increase the film's pacing and give Padme a chance to show more physical courage. Natalie Portman performed several of her own stunts, running across conveyor belts and dodging mechanical arms with safety harnesses removed in post-production. The sequence was almost entirely filmed against green screen, with all the machinery digitally created. The addition ended up being one of the film's most exciting set pieces, breaking up the political drama with high-stakes action. 16. John Williams composed an iconic new love theme. Attack of the Clones introduced Across the Stars, John Williams' sweeping love theme for Anakin and Padme. Williams wanted a romantic melody that also carried hints of tragedy, knowing their relationship would eventually end in heartbreak. The theme became one of the most beloved pieces of music in the prequel trilogy, instantly recognizable to Star Wars fans. Williams recorded it with the London Symphony Orchestra, giving it a timeless, almost classical feel. Its emotional weight helped make the love story feel more epic even for fans who were skeptical of the romance. 17. The clone trooper voices were recorded in one day. Teamera Morrisons voiced every single clone trooper line in the film, and he did it all in just one day of recording. The sound team digitally modified his voice to make it slightly more uniform and helmet-like so that all the clones sounded identical. This efficient recording process saved time and kept production on schedule, especially since the clones appear in so many battle scenes. Morrison's disciplined performance gave the clones a calm, professional tone that matched their role as a genetically engineered army bred for war. 18. Many Nibou scenes were filmed in Italy. The breathtaking lake and palace scenes on Nibou were filmed at Lake Como and Villa del Balbiani in Italy. The location's real beauty required minimal digital enhancement, making it one of the few Star Wars settings that's almost entirely practical. These stunning locations became a favorite destination for fans after the film's release, with many traveling to see where Anakin and Padme's romance blossomed. Shooting there gave the cast a brief break from green screen work and allowed them to perform in a truly magical setting. 19. Christopher Lee was taller than most Jedi actors. Standing at 6'5", Christopher Lee towered over most of his fellow cast members. His imposing height made Count Dooku even more intimidating on screen. During fight choreography, stunt doubles had to adjust their moves to account for his longer reach. Lee's height, combined with his commanding voice and refined mannerisms, gave Dooku a regal yet menacing presence that few Star Wars villains have matched. His physical stature helped make his lightsaber duels especially dramatic, even with the assistance of a stunt double for some shots. 20. The film contained over 2,000 visual effect shots. Attack of the Clones was groundbreaking for its time, featuring more than 2,000 visual effect shots, a record for a live-action film in 2002. ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, pushed the limits of digital filmmaking, blending CGI environments, characters, and creatures with live-action footage in ways never before attempted. This heavy reliance on digital technology paved the way for the modern era of blockbuster filmmaking. While some effects have aged, others remain impressive, proving how ambitious Lucas and his team were in bringing this chapter of Star Wars